Time for another Trading 212 Stocks and Shares ISA portfolio update. I'm going to do these every 2 to 3 months from now on, and this is my first Stocks and Shares ISA portfolio update of the new tax year for Trading 212, 2026-27. So we're not going to waste much time in this one, we're just going to get straight into it. But as always, before we dive in, please do remember that when investing, your capital is at risk. The value of investments can go down as well as up. And this is not investment advice. What is suitable for me may not be suitable for you. So please always do your own research. And as I am an affiliate partner of Trading 212, if you are new to the app, you can get a free fractional share worth up to £100 by signing up via the link in my description or using the promo code TOM in the menu page of the app within 10 days of opening your account. I'll also put a QR code on screen that you can scan if you're watching on TV. Terms do apply, and as mentioned, that is an affiliate link and code, so if you do use it, I do earn a small commission too at no cost to you. So here we are in my Trading 212 Stocks and Shares ISA. The account value is £57,439.67. Total return, just over £11,000. Rate of return, 45%. And just for new viewers, people new to the channel, to explain this here, I've been investing in ISA since 2020, but I started this Trading 212 Stocks and Shares ISA in 2024, and then I transferred an ISA in 2025 over to Trading 212, so that's that big jump here. So my total return here isn't my total return since I started investing, it's my total return on Trading 212. I hope that makes sense, but I just like to say that otherwise this big jump may look a bit strange. So on Trading 212, I split my portfolio into 3 different pies: a core fund, a satellite fund, and a fun stock picks. And as you can see, just from looking at that there, not very fun, underperforming the market by that much, but we'll get onto that later. I use pies just as a way of organizing the portfolio and a way of benchmarking my different strategies against each other. My core fund, the core of my portfolio, is a simple global index tracking ETF. We can see here, I've gone for the Spider MSCI All Country World. That's currently up 20% on my position. And you can see over the past month, that is up by a rate of return of 5.2%. So it has been doing very well recently. The global stock market has done well. We have a slight dip today, but given we're up by 5% over the past month, I definitely can't complain. So with the Spider MSCI All Country World, this is very, very similar to, say, the Vanguard FTSE All World or the Invesco FTSE All World or the iShares MSCI All Country World. They pretty much all do the same thing. They're all market cap weighted global ETFs that contain stocks from both developed and emerging markets. I'll put the top holdings of this ETF on screen for you to check out. But yeah, it just reflects the state of the world. The larger the market value of a company, the greater the weighting it has in the fund. I'm not trying to beat the market with this. It just delivers a return in the global stock market. Next, we have my satellite funds. So with satellites, these are where I put my own play on the portfolio, own spin. Still diversified fund options, but they may have specific tilts, specific styles. Maybe they're actively managed. And it's just my way of having a bit of fun, putting my tilt on the portfolio, still being sensible in the sense that they're diversified. But yeah, just a bit different to a global fund. And at the moment, I only have 3 satellite funds. I have my main satellite position, which is the Avantis Global Small Cap Value. This invests into developed markets, small-sized companies, and applies both a value and a profitability filter. So regular viewers will know that I'm a big fan of factor investing. Factor investing is all about tilting a portfolio towards stocks with certain characteristics that have historically outperformed the market. As always, no guarantees going forward, but I do like the research that underpins factor investing. And as the core fund, the Spider MSCI All Country World only includes large and mid-cap stocks, this fund is also a diversifier because it gives me a small cap exposure. And then beyond that, I've got Scottish Mortgage, which is an investment trust. And what I like about the Scottish Mortgage Investment Trust is that it's a publicly listed company, but it's not a company in the sense that it has its own products and services. It's an investment company. So it invests into companies, and I invest into Scottish Mortgage to get exposure to the holdings that they have. And this allows me to invest in private companies indirectly because Scottish Mortgage invests in both public and private companies. Most notably, Scottish Mortgage has a holding in SpaceX. And with all the talk about the upcoming SpaceX IPO, Scottish Mortgage has seen a pretty strong surge over the past year. You can see 50% up in the last year. So I definitely can't complain about the performance of Scottish Mortgage right now. Then lastly, I have the UBS Nasdaq 100. I've only had this in the portfolio for about a couple of months, and I swapped out from the Wisdom Tree Global Quality Growth to the UBS Nasdaq 100 because I tried out the Wisdom Tree Global Quality Growth, ticker WGRP, and after 6 or 7 months, however long it was, maybe even a year, I realized that It was just very similar to the NASDAQ 100, and I could get a NASDAQ 100 ETF for cheaper, so I just swapped it out. And that is basically, the NASDAQ 100 is the pretty much top 100 non-financial companies listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange. It's dominated by the likes of Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of overlap with the core fund of that one, but it's just more concentrated. And yeah, a small satellite position for me. And if we look at my satellite funds, since I started these, so I started the core and satellite fund pie on the same date. This one's up by 26.9%, and my core fund pie is up by 24.8%. So far, my satellite positions are doing their job. They're slightly beating the market, beating my core fund, only ever so slightly. And they are slightly more volatile as well. So yeah, they're doing their job. If the satellite funds were underperforming the market, then you could argue then why am I bothering? Should just be all in a core fund. But the satellite funds serve a couple purposes. They allow me to satisfy that itch to try things out, to experiment, to not be 100% global fund while still being sensible. And if I can beat the market with them, brilliant. Don't expect to. But also, I don't expect to horrifically underperform the market either because of the sort of things I'm going for. The same can't be said with the third pie, my fun stock picks. I've got fun in quotation marks because, yeah, not a lot of fun is being had. I am down by 9% rate of return since the inception of this pie. I've sold and bought a couple things over its lifespan. At the moment, Wise is doing okay in it, pretty good actually for how long I've held it for. Adyen and Mercado Libre are doing terribly. So this is one where it can be easy to get FOMO because there's been a lot of obvious individual stocks. I say obvious because in the sense that we've been talking about AI and tech for so long, and the sort of companies that have done incredibly well over the past month, Intel, AMD, SanDisk, and they all just feel like obvious stocks in the sense that, oh, it's an AI gold rush. Why wouldn't you invest into companies that make GPUs, SSDs, all the RAM, all the things that are needed for AI data centers? And yeah, it's just these are long-term picks. And yes, I could have made a lot of money investing in those individual stocks, but everyone's a genius in hindsight. And what seems obvious now, the next load of things that beat the market may not be obvious. There'll be big crashes in some of these stocks. You never know. And I build a portfolio based off my circumstances, my risk tolerance. And I do just prefer diversification because I accept that I am not a good stock picker. And this is proof I am not a good stock picker. Then again, this is only a year or so that I've held these companies in the case of Adyen and Mercado Libre. If we're talking about long-term investing, 5 years plus, I should not really care about the 1 year performance. But why I have these as a small position is, again, it satisfies that small itch. But also, I know if I did have a large part of my portfolio into individual stocks, I am not behaviorally cut out for that. I'm not afraid to admit that I am not behaviorally cut out for these large swings in the majority of my portfolio. Say if my core pie was individual stocks, I would be panicking if it was 30% down on some of the positions in the core fund. But because it's a small part of the portfolio, I open it up and I don't really mind about it. I don't mind at all. It's a very small part. I'm able to live with it. And you just got to be honest with yourself. If you can accept big swings in your portfolio, you have that risk tolerance, then fair enough. But I think for the average investor, for most people, ETFs are probably the way to go because they are less volatile. They can still be volatile, but they're less volatile than individual stocks. And it allows us to stay invested, which is the most important thing. Stay invested, keep on depositing, try not to panic when things go down, and building a portfolio that allows you to achieve all those things, staying invested and not panicking, is the portfolio that suits you and will allow you to achieve your financial goals, hopefully. I do also want to show the asset allocation here, and it is a red day at the day of recording, but we've had a lot of green days recently, so I can't complain about that. My portfolio here is 70%, just short of 70% into the SPDR MSCI Country World, which is basically my target, 70% in the core fund, and then 20% into the Avantis Global Small Cap Value, and then about 6% in the other satellite positions, the remaining 4% split across the individual stocks, which is about what I'm aiming for here. So I'm happy with these allocations. I'm happy to have this split between core, satellite, and individual stocks. Looking at my deposit here, you can see I've been sticking to my plan of £400 per month into my trading 2-on-2 stocks and shares ISA, and I've been splitting that 70-30 between my global fund, SPDR MSCI Country World, and the Avantis Global Small Cap Value. So I've been sticking to that plan over the past 2 months, And in total this tax year, I'm looking to invest £600 per month into stocks and shares ISAs. I'm doing £400 into trading 212 and £200 into Lightyear for the new beginner portfolio. And yeah, I'm just going to keep on doing this. And you can see I was late with my deposit this month into my ISA. Yesterday was the 11th of May, I believe, at the time of recording. And yeah, that was because, as I explained in my Lightyear portfolio update, my son was born on the 1st of May. I was in hospital for a week with my wife and my son, but we're all home now. Everyone's healthy and happy. But yeah, it just meant investing was the last thing on my mind. I've been getting used to the lack of sleep with being a new parent. So yeah, I've gone through that in my Lightyear update. I'm not sure which one of these is going out first. So apologies if I'm repeating myself or sounding like you've heard this before. But yeah, that's the reason. And I'm hopefully get back into the regular deposits at the first of the month from June onwards. And if I think I'm going to struggle with keeping these early deposits, then I may look to set up a standing order on Trading 212 as well, just to make things automatic. So that is it for this Trading 212 Stocks and Shares ISA portfolio update. There is a real danger of people who make investing content on social media of sounding like a broken record, in the sense that we're just depositing every month, we're investing into a global fund, whatever it may be, and not much changes. We're just doing the same thing every month. But to me, that's a sign of a sensible investor. If I was here talking about the latest hot stocks every month and giving tips on what stocks I think are going to go up or down, then that would be a sign to not trust me, in my opinion. Fair play to all those people who want to invest into individual stocks, but I do think it's very difficult. And I would never want to put my name to any individual stock, because I'm not that sort of person who believes that I have an edge with the market. I'm more of the case that I think everyone can invest by being diversified, building a portfolio that suits their risk tolerance. And there may be certain funds that offer different types of diversification. They tilt towards different types of stocks. But the general rule applies with all sorts of investing, in that diversification is the only free lunch you're going to get, really. And I'm just going to keep on doing the same thing with my investments. And I'd love to hear how you invest. I'm sure there's some people over the past month that have made some incredible gains on those tech stocks. And I'd love to hear about that, because as much as I'm not an individual stock picker myself, I love to hear about the gains that other people have made. So let me know how your portfolios are doing in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching. I'm hoping to get back into regular content soon.